So I've been in the U.S. now for about a month after studying abroad in Trinidad and Tobago. And I have to say that it was definitely by far the best experience I've ever had in my life. I mean, the food, the way people talked, the way they lived their lives, everything was so different. And it made me think in a way that I've never had to think before. I was the one that was out of place, and it was a strange thing to feel, to have to get used to things in someone else's territory. So I guess the point of this video is to help you guys understand what it was like for me to travel to Trinidad and what the study abroad experience was for me on a personal level. And I think that is a very interesting thing. So first, I've never been out of the U.S. before, so it was definitely going to be a new experience for me traveling abroad, as I've lived in Georgia for a while and most of like the eastern, midwestern part of the U.S., but that's really all I've traveled. I mean, I love traveling, but I've never been out of the country, well, not until the trip. So it was very, very easy. It was an easy decision for me to make when, I was approached about the decision to study abroad or not. So that was something I definitely went towards when someone asked me about it. I think it's a great class to have the study abroad attached to because of the cultural aspect. You're going to be teaching kids from different cultures. So this is the perfect class to have in another country where you'll be learning about how kids learn in different cultures. So I think it's definitely the perfect class to have taught somewhere else. Also, while being able to immerse yourself in the culture and just gaining that knowledge yourself. I didn't know anybody before we went on the trip. I didn't have any friends going with me, so it was a completely clean slate for everybody to learn and know each other. So that was interesting. I mean, we got a little bit of interaction in the meetings, but those are quick and no one really knew each other, so it was kind of like a come and go type thing. But I feel like after the trip, everybody's become so close just because of the fact that we've had to go through these things together and that we're learning a different culture at the same time. And it's becoming, while at the same time it's the same experience, we're all going to get different things out of it because of our own personal backgrounds. And I think that's what is interesting about each of us going. So someone else may have a different experience from me, although we just did the same thing, which I think was amazing. But personally, I feel like, growing up in the areas that I grew up and things like that, I feel like it was a little bit more interesting to see how people in Trinidad live, or I guess, the cultural makeup of the country. Definitely sometimes in America, I feel like my experience so far has been that I am different. Not so much that I'm strange or a public spectacle, but more like, people, they look at you and there are assumptions that are made based on the way you look. And that happens with anyone, but I feel like most of those come negatively towards myself. And I felt that in Trinidad, it just wasn't that way at all. And this is just my personal experience. And a lot of it was based on, I feel like, my physical appearance. I mean, barring the hair, I felt like I fit in. I felt that I was part of them, and they had no trouble making me feel like I was. So I didn't have people asking me about how I do my hair or how often do I wash it or just other things about people of color that they just would not know. and not from ignorance, but just from unfamiliarity about that. And it was very comforting to be in a place where these people are like me. They understand what it's like to be me. So that definitely put me at ease when I was in Trinidad, and it also helped me enjoy myself because, you know, when I would meet eyes with someone on the street, they see and they understand and they know, and that's something that I haven't quite gotten in America yet. So it's very, very, very enlightening to go through that sort of thing and see how people are perceived in other parts of the world. So just something as small as that just helped me become more knowledgeable about the world I live in, but more so the world that I don't live in, things that I don't know about. And I guess one example was when we were in Tobago, we were taking the tour, and you know, you could see the beautiful landscape of the mountains, you know, the tropical plant life, and, you know, over the cliff you see the Caribbean Sea. And it's just a beautiful sight. And, you know, if you look a little closer, you can see that there are houses in those mountains, and there are people living up there who built those houses themselves. And since it was such a rural area, people, I guess, you know, assume that maybe these people live a certain type of way. And I will admit, I did too. And then it really surprised me in a good way to see that there are people walking out of their houses dressed in suits, you know, ready to catch the bus, ready to go to work, you know, make money like, you know, we do here. And it's just so interesting to see that they understand and they go through those same daily struggles, albeit on a different level, but still understand that, you know, they have to make their living as well. And that was what really blew my mind. So going back to the class, I think it was very helpful in that, you know, whenever I become a teacher, it's going to help me confront these issues with students that I normally wouldn't be able to help. You know, so if you have a student, you know, from another country or from a different background, one who maybe just doesn't even know English that well, it's going to be difficult for you to go against those issues and try to help and sort them out if you just don't understand what that child has been through or what his culture is like, or understand what their life could be like at home. And I feel like this is a class that helps remedy that sort of, you know, it can remedy the lack of cultural knowledge that I feel a lot of teachers have. And it would help bridge that gap and just help teachers really just become more effective as a whole. But I definitely would suggest anyone to study abroad if you have the chance. It's a great once-in-a-lifetime experience. So yeah, I think it was really good. But now, it's on to everyone's favorite part. You knew it was coming.